Today we're going to talk about the structure of your file folders and your directories, Windows 7 libraries and how they're used, file paths and how you can use file paths to find a folder or a file, context menus, which are the right-click context menus, and some of the more popular commands used by users today, such as cut, copy, paste, select all, and move. Okay, let's talk a little bit about file paths, also known as addresses. File paths are very important because if you can determine what the path of the file is, in other words, where is the file located on your hard drive, then it's easy to access the files. If you don't know what a file path is, then you're going to have a very difficult time locating files. All right, so let's talk about that just a little bit. The file path is this file that you see up in the address bar here, hence the alias of address. So this is a file path or an address. Right now we are on the computer folder, all right? So that's the main directory. Let's say we want to, let's find us a file here. Let's go into I have a file called example 1. So let's see if we can find that file, okay? So the first thing we do is click computer, and then this opens up all of these subfolders under computer. The first is the root directory, which is C, and Windows 7 you have a subfolder called users, and then under users you have the name of the computer itself, and then so we're going to click let's go to users. Alright, so we have computer, the root directory, and now we're in the subfolder called users. And then under users, we want to find the name of my computer, which is, in this case, W7Devoo. So we click on that, and then under that folder, we look for My Documents. So let's go under My Documents, and let's see if we've found our folder, and there it is. Example 1 is right there. Example 1 here. Okay, so now we have this file path: computer, C, users, W7Devoo, My Documents, and example. All right, so let's say we want to look at this particular file, which is a PDF file. So what we do is we can just double click and open that up. All right, so if you open it up, there we go, and there's your PDF file. Okay, so I'm going to minimize that for a second. And so now, let's say we want to open up another window and you want to find that file in a different folder window. So we're going to copy this by right-clicking the mouse and hitting copy. And now let's open up another folder here. Let's go into this one here. Okay, so let's say alright, so let's say we want to add that path here, which as you can see is not the same here. So what I did was I clicked outside to the right of the file path. It highlighted the file path, so now I'm going to right click and select copy. Alright, so now I want to put that file path in this window and in this address bar so that I can find the same file that we had over here. So let's do that. We'll left click in the window. It highlights the current path. We're going to right click, and instead of copying, we're going to paste. Alright, so now we have our path in there, and all we have to do is hit the return key or the arrow. And there it is. You see? That's how you locate files on your computer on different hard drives and different folders. All right. right, let's talk about a couple of functions that you probably have already used a few times, but they will become your best friends, and that is the copy, cut, move, and paste commands. I'm going to show you how to use the cut and copy command to move files from one folder to another, or to copy from one file to another. And you can also use these commands for moving or copying folders to other locations on your hard drive. So let's show you how to do this. So first we're going to open up a couple of folders. Let's open up example 1 and example 2. Alright, so here's our file path. We're in My Documents, example 1, and we're in Documents, example 1, and example 2 is a subfolder of example 1. See that? Alright, so what we want to do is we want to copy this file into this subfolder here. Okay, so it's very simple. You simply left click, and while the left button is depressed, drag it into this folder. Alright, now did you notice something that happened that I didn't expect or want? Right, it's missing. So that means that it moved the file instead of copying the file. Why did it do that? Well, whenever you have two different folders on the same drive, in this case it's C drive, it will automatically move the file instead of copying the file. Now, another way to get around that is to hold the control key down. First, let's move this back over here. Since we're left clicking and dragging, it's just going to move. And I brought it back. So if I want to copy it and I want to left click and drag it, then I can hold the control key down, left click, drag it over to the folder, and release. And you see, there it is. Now notice, let's do that again. Alright, so I'm going to delete this since it's a copy. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, now watch what happens to the arrow, the cursor. Watch when I start to drag. Do you see the little button at the bottom? It says copy to example 1, copy to example 2. Now if I release the control button, watch what happens. It becomes a negative sign or a right arrow, and it says move to example 2. You see, so it's simply a left click and it's going to move that example. If I hit the control button, now it's copy. Make sense? Release the left button and there it is. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Just simply left click and drag. Now if this was, let's say hang on a second, let's say this was drive D, or it was a removable drive like a thumb drive, or it was a CD drive, and this one was the C drive. When you left clicked and dragged the file from there to here, then it would have automatically copied the file, not moved it. So remember, if it's the same drive and you try to left click and drag, then it's a move. It will move the file and remove it from the original. And if you are on two different drives and do the same thing, it will become a copy. Okay, so another way to do this is to use the context menu. You can right click and you can say I want to move this file. So what happens when you move a file? You remove it from the original location, which is also cut. Cut is another way of saying I'm going to remove it from the file and I'm going to put it in temporary memory or the clipboard and paste it over here. So let's start that over again. Okay, so you can right click on the context menu, click cut, which will move the file instead of copying it. So you left click cut, come to this example 2 folder, right click and say I want to paste it here. Now watch what happens. It moved the file over here and took it away from here. Now let's say you want to copy the file over here. So we do the same thing, right click, copy. Now it places a copy of this into the clipboard, our temporary memory. we left click into this window, right click and paste. And it left our copy there, and it also created a copy here. So that's a second way that you can do it. Now let me show you a third way that you can do this. Okay, another way is to go into Organize, highlight your file, left click to highlight, Organize, and there's your copy and cut and copy and paste commands. So copy it, come over here, left click on it, click Organize and paste. Alright, and same thing with Move. We want to cut it, click over here, and paste. And there it removed it. So you see there's another way to do it. Okay, let me show you one more quick way to cut and paste. Let's say you want to copy this one. Instead of using any of the tools on the windows here, you can use your keyboard. So the keyboard command for copying a file is Control-C. So in other words, you hold the Control key down, which is usually in the bottom left corner of your keyboard, hold Control, and then while it's depressed, hit the C key. That puts it in temporary memory again in the clipboard, and then you click on here, and the keyboard command to paste is Control-V as in Victor. And there it is. Alright, so let's do the same thing with cut. Let's delete that. Okay, so now we're going to cut, which is Control-X. So highlight your file, hit Control-X, click into the window that you want to move it to, and you hit Control-V, which again is paste. Okay, so again, using the keyboard shortcuts, we're going to cut this file. So we highlight it and we hold Control down and hit X, and then we click inside this window and hit Control-V, and there it is. Alright, so let's delete that and try it again using the copy command. So let's do this one. We'll highlight the file. What's the command? Control-C, and then click inside the other window, into the folder, and Control-V. That's right. Along that line, if you want to cut or copy and paste more than one file, another keyboard shortcut that I use all the time is Control-A. And Control-A selects all of the files and folders in that folder. And then let's say you want to paste them over here. You can simply click inside the window, hit Control-V, and because this one's already here, it's saying, do you want to replace it? Yes, we'll just say yes. And that's the use of the cut, copy, move, paste commands.